This week on Oklahoma Horizon. Well, study hard, kids, and it'll pay off later in life, or so we've always heard. Now though, with college debt outweighing regular credit card debt and unemployment rampant among young people, you have to wonder, what's a first-class education for anyway? Today, we'll try to answer that question as we examine education outcomes along with educational funding and what the two could mean for our global competitiveness. Stay with us for Oklahoma Horizon.
Oklahoma Horizon is made possible by the Oklahoma Department of Career and Technology Education.
Oklahoma's investment in career tech provides more than nationally recognized technology education and training. It produces solid financial returns for the state's economic future. Oklahoma Career Tech, elevating our economy.
And the Oklahoma Department of Agriculture, Food, and Forestry, helping good people grow good things. And now, from the Career Tech Studios in Stillwater, here's your host, Rob McClendon.
Hello everyone, thanks for joining us here on Horizon. Well, it could be later this week the State Board of Education releases a controversial A through F report card for all Oklahoma schools, one of several education reforms that have people divided on how we prepare our young people for success in the workplace. Well, while American schooling remains the envy of the world, it takes increasingly big money, this at a time when a tight economy even has some questioning the amount of tax support going to our public schools. Yet almost everyone agrees our country can't win in the global marketplace without well-educated young workers. Here's Frank Cesno to help us face the facts on education.
It's Social Mobility 101, where the American dream begins, right? Go to school, get smart, get ahead. But education's been in trouble in this country for a long time, and now the world is closing in.
Worries about the value and the quality of education abound. Billions of tax dollars go into public schools, a nationwide average of more than $10,000 per student. Yet student test scores keep falling, reading the lowest levels in 40 years, math not far behind. Defenders say it's because a bigger, more diverse pool of students takes those tests nowadays. But for whatever reason, money isn't buying excellence. What works? Hard to say, but research shows teacher quality makes the biggest difference. Charter schools, privatized public schools, class size, and teaching technologies are some of the other initiatives underway. Some good news, high school graduation rates have improved in recent years. Still, about 1 in 4 in the United States don't finish high school. And huge disparities among minorities persist. As for the ivied walls, about 70% of high school grads attend some kind of college today, way up from their parents' and grandparents' generations. The cost is way up too, though. The College Board says tuition and fees have risen 130% in the past 20 years at public universities, galloping ahead of inflation. So, more and more students borrow more and more, and student debt now tops $1 trillion, more than all the credit card debt in America combined. Does anyone ask what their monthly payment will be when they graduate, or what kind of salary they'll need to pay it?
So from kindergarten to graduate school, there are decisions to be made about quality, cost, effectiveness. And you know what? The classroom's the place we first learned to face the facts.
And to get the education they want, some parents are steering their children into private schools, assuming they'll get a better education from more qualified teachers. But here's what we know. According to the U.S. Department of Education, students of teachers with advanced degrees generally do better on math assessments. And when it comes to who has those degrees, this just may surprise you. 52% of the nation's 3.3 million public school teachers have a master's degree or better, compared to just 38% of teachers at private schools. And while a master's degree does not necessarily make a better teacher, it does lead to higher test scores, at least in mathematics. Look at this. When you track 8th grade math scores for the past 6 years, you see a gradual increase in both classrooms. But it is those teachers with a master's degree or higher here on top whose students continually outperform their counterparts. So why not require all math teachers to have a master's degree or higher? Well, that just comes down to money. Higher education is not free. Student loan debt is the only category of consumer debt still rising in post-recession America. Here's more from our friends at Face the Facts USA.
In 2012, graduating college students threw their hats into the air and picked up an average of $28,720 each in student debt. That's more than enough for a brand new Ford Mustang or to make a down payment on a home. But paying off that debt will be difficult, as 53% of recent bachelor degree recipients are either unemployed or unable to find a full-time job. Student debt has grown 275% in less than a decade to reach $914 billion, bypassing credit card debt as the second largest source of household financial liabilities after mortgages. And at least 14.4% of that $914 billion is past due. The weight of almost a third of student debt is falling on the shoulders of a generation that is struggling to find work. Try to keep your head up, college graduates. Explore more at facethefactsusa.org.
Yet more than ever, we are a matriculation nation. While the cost of college is escalating fast, college enrollments are up by over 37% in the past decade. But the big question remains, are those students getting the right degrees and training for the job demands of today and tomorrow? When we return, we weigh the cost of student debt versus student outcomes.
You're watching Oklahoma Horizon, featuring some of the good things that are happening in the great state of Oklahoma.
Well, when the state legislature convenes in the spring, they're charged with a tough task, growing the number of post-secondary degrees and work-ready certifications in our state by 60%, which is why lawmakers met with top educators at our state capitol, and Arkela Kellen joins us from there now.
Well, every fall, lawmakers here at the state capitol hold what are called interim sessions to study issues that could become legislation in the spring. And one of the hot topics this fall is education's role in meeting job demands of the 21st century. With one of the lowest unemployment rates in the nation, Oklahoma is facing a challenge most states would be envious of.
We have a skills mismatch in the state of Oklahoma. We don't have enough people with the skill sets to be able to go out and fill the jobs that we have right now.
Which is why Senators Jim Halligan and John Ford brought educators to the state capitol to create an education strategy that meets industry needs.
And match them up with our own courses so that
Tom Friedemann is the superintendent of Francis Tuttle Technology Center.
We need post-secondary education in areas where there's a skills demand. We have a skills mismatch right now. We don't need more folks with college degrees in areas where there's not actual employment opportunities. I could say, obviously engineers, the medical profession, a lot of those things, you have a tendency to automatically track toward employment. But a lot of college degrees don't necessarily do that.
Across Oklahoma, arts and science majors are still the most popular on campus, despite the fact that engineering, biosciences, and engineering technology graduates are in much higher demand.
What we're trying to do is to make certain that all aspects of our educational enterprise in Oklahoma are working together and trying to make certain that the jobs that are available, that we are producing individuals with those skills. We're producing individuals who have degrees, or they might have certificates, but they are not in demand by society. That's what we need to make certain that we're trying to mesh those two things together. These are the job opportunities that we have. This is the way we can economically develop in Oklahoma. These are the people that are going to complete these programs and be able to satisfy those needs.
At all 29 of the tech centers across Oklahoma, high school students are taking part in what's called a cooperative alliance, a chance to earn college credits while still in high school. For only $8 a semester, students can take college-level courses, but not all Oklahoma universities accept the credit hours. And here's why. Usually university faculty will have earned their bachelor's, master's, and then PhD before entering the classroom. But on the career tech level, their instructors typically come straight from industry, where such degrees don't carry the same weight. So what we are talking about are basically two educational philosophies, one research-based and the other industry-based, that have come together to produce the skilled students in demand today.
And I think after the interim study today, there's a lot of dialogue that takes place between faculties, college faculties. Are they going to allow the different credit that we offer at a Career and Technology Center? Are they going to give us 30 hours of credit or 3 hours of credit? And that all really starts at the faculty level when you start dealing with higher ed.
Greg Winters is the CEO of Canadian Valley Technology Center.
Of our folks that come out of industry we hire don't have credentials, they don't have college degrees and whatnot, and that seems to be a big stumbling block. And so we've got to work on that to try to streamline that alignment between higher ed and the career tech and the courses that we offer.
A dilemma that the head of Oklahoma Career Tech System says can only be solved if everyone works together.
We've got to make the parents and counselors, people in the field, aware that there are definite pathways to success. They may end up with a certificate, a credential, or a license that leads to a good paying job that they can still go on and move into other areas.
Then we need to know, what is it going to take, all right? I think it's going to take additional resources, additional money, let me be straightforward, but we need to build a case for that. So what we're doing is we're trying to interact with the leaders, both from industry and from education throughout the state, and say, all right, if we're going to move this state forward, what do we have to do?
Classes, it really depends on the student, and so again, I don't know what percentage of those students are paying that particular rate.
But to do all this, it will take money. And according to the U.S. Census Bureau, Oklahoma ranks 48th in how much per student they spend.
Well, certainly room for improvement, but as I understand it, if you figure in comparable wages, the rankings do get better.
Well, Rob, that is true, and whenever you look at pre-K, we actually come in at 29th.
All right, Keela, thank you so much.
Still to come on Oklahoma Horizon, leading the way to more in-demand degrees.
Usually folks are like, math, science, ed.
But first, STEM sells.
So to what extent does a college degree mean richer paydays? Well, the degrees associated with the highest paychecks fall under these four letters, STEM, which stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And on average, STEM-related jobs pay almost $35,000 more annually than the average American wage, as you can see. So what does it take to get one of these good jobs? Well, 97% of STEM jobs will require some post-secondary education, while 56% of all STEM jobs will require a bachelor's degree or higher. Yet, once someone has actually attained those skills, the demand for these jobs is only going to grow. Over the next 10 years, Oklahoma is on track to replace 42% of our existing STEM workforce. It's also expected our state will rank 30th in the nation in STEM job growth between the same time period. So how do we get there? Well, that is the question a group of Oklahomans try to answer in a new report called One Oklahoma. Earlier, I sat down with the group's chair, physicist and Oklahoma Secretary of Technology, Stephen McKeever. Well, Dr. McKeever, I have the report here with me, and it almost reads like a strategic plan.
That's exactly what it is. It's a strategic plan for the development of science and technology, in particular industry, within the state. So it's an economic development plan.
And it was developed both with educators and industry input.
Exactly. University, industry, and the financial sector were the main contributors to the report.
Give me the overall view of what you found when you took a look at STEM education here in the state.
Well, first of all, let me say that the development of a science and technology infrastructure requires consideration at several different levels. But the underlying level, the base upon which it's all built, is STEM education. And STEM education is the core of the workforce that we will need to support our industries in the science and technology sector. So when we looked at the numbers coming through our education system, we found that we weren't producing enough to support the growth of the industries in the future. And then we started to ask the question, why? What are the issues here? And it appears that, well, as you know, as a fifth grader, you show me a fifth grader that doesn't like dinosaurs or spacecraft. So everybody at a young age loves science. They really do, whether they call it that or not. But then if you were to look at the numbers of those who say that they have aspirations to a science career as a function of time, as a function of their age, all the way through college, there's a steady decline in interest. Now that's worrying. Another aspect is if you look at the ACT scores in science and math over the last decade, they haven't shifted. They're all round about the same numbers, year after year, despite all of the various education reforms that we've had over the years. So clearly something is the issue. Well, there's one thing that is common to all reports and investigations into education, and that is the most critical person is the teacher. And so we focused our attention on the teacher, how to make them better, and in particular, how to get away from this notion that teaching is a vocation. It's not a vocation, it is a profession. It is a professional career.
So I think it's interesting that you say that, because a lot of times people say, well, I teach because I love to teach, but you think there needs to be other incentives for people to teach in the STEM field.
Absolutely. I mean, why punish somebody because they love to do what they do? Why say that because you love to teach, we don't have to pay you enough? The fact of the matter is that teachers have families too, and they have to survive too. And we're not competing with other schools when we consider the salaries of our teachers. We're competing with industry. So somebody who's highly qualified in a science or technology or mathematics area has the choice between a starting salary of, let's say, 45, 46,000 in industry and 30,000 in teaching.
And you also talk about teaching methods, and one of them is to modernize teaching methods at your colleges and universities. This from a physicist and a college professor. How did that come about?
Indeed. Well, at universities we've been struggling with the best way to teach very large classes. And it's a continuing dialogue at universities. We are always coming across this question. Well, one of the things about education in general, and I don't care whether you talk about college or high school or wherever it might be, education has a terrible reputation for reinventing the wheel. We tend to do endless studies about what's the best way to teach. Well, enough already. We've done a lot of research, and there is a lot of evidence out there that some of the traditional methods may not be the best, and some of the newer methods may well be much better. And so we're calling for a reconsideration of those traditional methods. Let's have a serious look, because the data is already out there. The research has already been done. The results are already in. There's plenty for us to look at without having to do another research effort into how to teach.
Is there a way to bring people from industry into the classroom?
Always. One of the benefits of that, especially at the younger level, in the, let's say, K through 12 in general, is that we will be telling and showing the kids what kind of career is available to them in the future. Many of them don't know what you can do with, let's say, a physics qualification or a chemistry qualification. They simply don't know what's out there, what's available. So to get professionals, industry professionals, to come into the classroom to illustrate what it is that is open to them is very valuable.
So we have the STEM college graduates. We get them into our classrooms. Then what happens?
Well, what we have to do is convert that vocation that I talked about into a profession. And one of the ways that we can do that is to have a career ladder for the teachers to go up. For example, currently, if a teacher enters the profession and then retires 35, 40 years later, they retire at exactly the same rank as they entered. 35 or 40 years ago. And the reason for that is that there is no other rank for them to go to. Now, in higher education, we solved that problem many years ago, where we have assistant professors, then the next stage up, if you perform, associate professors, and then full professors and regents professors. Industry has a similar career ladder, but teaching does not. If you need to get a higher salary in teaching, you have to get out of the classroom and into administration. So let's have a career structure for our teachers, an entry level, followed by a more senior level, and then perhaps if you're a head of department, a science department, say, you can go to another level, but you have to perform and you have to apply for those promotional steps. And I'm not talking about annual salary increases. I'm talking about real promotional increases so that the teachers have a career in front of them that they can go for.
Almost team leaders.
Absolutely.
Dr. Stephen McKeever, thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure.
And I continue my conversation with Oklahoma's Secretary of Technology, Dr. Stephen McKeever, on our website. Just go to okhorizon.com and click on this week's Value Added. Well, many of the high school students heading into the STEM fields are getting a head start at their local career techs thanks to a program called Project Lead the Way.
I've known I wanted to be an engineer since I was in middle school. My grandpa was one, and it just kind of rubbed off on me when I was little.
I plan on being a doctor, and so this academy really helped me figure that out a lot.
I like math. Initially, that's why I started out, but as I got to doing it, I found it took math and science and put life applications to it, where you could actually go into a career where you use those every day, and it's actually useful.
The Project Lead the Way curriculum was initially developed so that it would excite folks to follow math and science, as usually folks are like, math, science, I'm gonna run away from it. But so it makes it fun, it's relevant, and it's got rigor in it.
Using the Project Lead the Way curriculum, we are able to show these students what engineering is really about.
It's a great curriculum. I love how we get to do projects without really textbook based.
The teachers here are phenomenal. It's not just the curriculum and it's not just the teachers, but the two of them together are definitely a good step into engineering.
I like Project Lead the Way. It's very easy to understand, it's very easy to follow, but it still gives me important information.
You can talk about the theory, you can talk about the effects of gravity, air resistance, everything else, but until you actually make a project and see it for yourself, you don't really understand it 100%.
It's usually there's no middle ground. The students either decide this is really where I'm headed, and I like to say they're on a mission. I'm going to nursing school. I'm going to go to medical school, and they're on a mission.
It was interesting how it, kind of like taught us the little technical things we needed to be able to succeed, but there was also room for us to kind of grow on our own.
The math you're learning correlates to physics, and then that goes to the Project Lead the Way class, so you really see the relevance of what you're learning.
I feel like it's teaching me without making it boring.
Robotics I started doing my sophomore year. It was so much fun to just brainstorm with all of your classmates and talk about all these different designs. Like I said, engineering, there's never just one solution to it. And so to be able to see everyone's ideas kind of come together on the board and then to paper and then to building it and then being able to use it, you're creating something from nothing.
It's so much fun because I get to build things and I get to program them, and it's gonna be so awesome. I'm so excited.
Project Lead the Way classes actually allow you to get a better glimpse of life as an actual doctor.
Project Lead the Way is our magic bullet. It doesn't matter whether you're a high school student or an adult. When we are asked to study or try to learn something new that is difficult, we want to know why. What's in it for me? Project Lead the Way answers that question.
If you're interested in Oklahoma culture, you can keep up with us throughout the week on the Red Dirt Chronicles blog. Look for the On the Horizon postings on Tuesdays and Fridays, and tell us what you think.
Next time on Oklahoma Horizon, we take a closer look at where we live and how we get there.
I think that if we can get a good mix of social, retail, and residential down here, it will really take the ebb and flow out of the downtown area, and I really want to preserve Stillwater's downtown.
Changing demographics in the Sooner State, an Oklahoma show for the Heartland. Oklahoma Horizon. Looks like we're out of time. I'm Rob McClendon. Thanks for watching. See you back here next week.
Horizon is made possible by the Oklahoma Department of Career and Technology Education and the Oklahoma Department of Agriculture, Food, and Forestry, helping good people grow good things. Thank you for watching Oklahoma Horizon.